So, in addition to the previous video, now we are going to explain a few important features that can be explained, which has the Indian Constitution has these features. So, you may say that the sovereign state means India is a sovereign country. It is a totally independent country, and there is no influence of any country in the matters of the internal and external affairs in regarding to the taking any decision towards the internal policy or external policy. We totally independent people. We have complete freedom. There is no influence of any country in our nation. That is nothing but the sovereign. So sovereignty was there. We have the sovereign people. We have enjoy the sovereignty of the country, and we don't want to go for the influence of the any country in the world, and without with the pressures and the any country's involvement will not be takes place in the matters of internal matters and external affairs. So that is nothing but the sovereign country. So India is a sovereign country because of the which was kept in the Indian Constitution. Then second one, in addition to that, the India is a socialistic nation. As per the Indian Constitution adopted at the Indian Parliament was adopted at the India must be the socialistic pattern of society. Indian must be implemented with the India is economic development will takes with along with the socialistic pattern of society. The socialistic pattern of society means it is there should not be any economic imbalance in the economy. Economically, everybody will be treated equally. Equal treatment was given for the all the sections of the people without any discrimination, without male, female, the caste, creed, or the any discrimination should not be taken place, and everybody equally treated in the matter of the economic matters. So that is called equal opportunity and equal chances will be given for the all the sections of the people, all the parts of the people, all the states of the country. They have to enjoy the equal opportunity and equal chances without discriminating anybody on the basis of caste, creed, male, female, whatever it may be. They don't take into the consideration. Only we have to go for the equal opportunity and equal chances. That is called what you say. This is called the economic balances. So but actually economic imbalances are taking place in our society because of the attitude of the government and the expansion of the private sector. The rich people are becoming rich and rich. The poor people are becoming poor and poor. There is a wide gap between the rich and the poor. There is a gap between the haves and have-nots. The rich people are becoming rich and rich. The poor people are becoming poor and poor, and there is a wide gap between the rich and the poor. That is called the economic imbalances, economic disparities. So economic disparities are from the beginning itself, from the inception from the 1947. We may see that the little bit of the words say that the economic disparities, the economic imbalances was there, but it was enlarged greater extent. At present, there is a large scale the differences between the haves and the have-nots, and rich people and the poor people. The poor people are becoming poor and poor. The rich people are becoming rich and rich. There is a wide gap between the poor and rich. This is called economic disparities are taking place, and the most of the people are poorest among the poor people. They are not in a position to meet the minimum needs. So to avoid all these problems, the Indian Parliament adopted in the 1954 through the after the visiting of the Nehru Garu on the Bandung conference, and it was implemented the India must be the socialistic pattern of society. We have to establish the socialistic pattern of society in which there is equal opportunity and equal chances, and economically everybody is treated equally, and there is no rich and poor. The gap between the rich and poor must be a little bit, and everybody is treated equally. That is called economic balances must be maintained. That will be provided. That will be kept in the Indian Constitution as India became a socialistic nation. In addition to that, India is the great thing that we can say. India has become a prominent nation, important nation, a unique nation to adopt the secularistic ideas in the Indian Constitution. Secular state means India can treat all the religions, all the caste, and equal opportunity and equal chances were given for all the people of the country. They can go for, they can adopt, they can go and they can implement any religion, whatever they likes, and without any force, without any pressure, and they can go for, they can follow any religion as per their own interest and own will. That is nothing but the secularism. So India is a secularistic country in which almost all the religions are equally treated. There is no question of the treat that as a special importance is not given for any particular religion. It is not the religious state, it is the secular state where there is a equal opportunity, equal chances are given for the all the religions. The people of country, they can, their will and wish, they can go for any religion, they can follow any religion, they can participate in their own involvement into as per their conscious and their interest also. This is the secular state that is adopting. Even we are giving the priority for the minority people, just like the Muslims, Jainism, Sikhism, just like the Buddhism. These people are getting priority as a part of the minority people. And but all the minority sections, all the minority religions also given equal priority. That is nothing but the secularism. So India became a secular nation as a, what to say, giving the all the priorities and all the equal chances and equal priority for the all the religions in the country. This is one more important special feature of the Indian Constitution. And in addition to that, democratic nation. India is a democratic nation. Democratic parliament is implementing through the constitution came to force. The constitution given the rights for the implement the democratic parliament. The parliamentary system is implementing, and with the bicameral system, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, Rashtrapati, the three parts are treated as the parliament. So Indian parliament is the, what say, Lok Sabha, there is a direct members are elected, the member of parliaments are directly elected by the people of the country. But Rajya Sabha is a upper house. The upper house, the members of the upper house, they can select from the different sections of the people, and their retirement will be continued for the every 2 years. There is 1/3 of the people will retired from the Rajya Sabha members, and it means every 6 years of time tenure, every member will be retired from their service through the upper house. Whereas lower house, after every 5 years of time, they are going to elections, conduct the elections, and they can continue for the lower house members are the 5 years. So Rashtrapati is the President of India, is the first person of the country, and he is responsible for the constitution of the protector from the constitution, Indian judiciary system, total entire is the executive, total executive of the country. It is maintained by the under control of on the name of the Rashtrapati. So the three parts are treated as three parts are the Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, the upper house, lower house, including the Rashtrapati, and these are treated as the parliamentary. So the parliamentary democratic system is implementing, which was adopted from the England, the parliament. England parliament adopting the parliamentary democratic system. Same procedure, same method, same parliamentary system which adopted in our country, and which was brought down, which is adopted from the England parliament. And the republican state means, you may see that some of the countries, they are rulers of the country, the prime minister of their country, and what's the leader of the nation, they came from hereditarily. As for the one by from same family members, they will come as the king of the nation. Just like you see that in England there is the hereditary system. Hereditarily, the people are became the rulers for their country, that is stated as the non-republican states. But whereas in our country, anybody can come off as a president of India, anybody can contest with their own eligibilities. They need some eligibilities. By fulfilling all the eligibility, we can contest from every 5 years of time. The new person will came to the force, and any people, any section of the people can elected, the male, female, or any religion, caste or creed, or any part of the persons can be become as the president of the country. It is not hereditarily coming. This is called republican state. It is a great thing. We can say that India is a republican state, secular, sovereign, the democratic and socialistic nation. These are the important, the basic features and nature of the Indian constitution. And at the same time, we are going to see that the bicameral system. Already I told you, bicameral system means it is a two upper house and lower house is there in the parliamentary democratic system. The upper house members are indirectly elected by the people of the country, and whereas the lower chamber means Lok Sabha members will be elected from people of the country directly, and for the tenure of the 5 years of time. So that is called a bicameral system. And independent judicial system. Independent judicial system means there is a complete independence was autonomous was given for the judicial system. There is the judiciary, execute and amendments. Judiciary, execute and amendments, and the law law means lawmakers. Lawmakers are there. That is the legislative, executive, and judiciary. There are three important parts of the government. So legislations will be maintained. That will be laws will be enacted through the parliament or the what is said the Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, even the state assemblies, and also they are the lawmakers. They are called these are called legislatures. Whereas executive body means ministers and council of ministers and the prime minister or the state level, the chief minister, the governor, they are treated as the executive. And the third one is the judicial system. Judicial system means in which there is no involvement of the executive as well as the legislature. The people of the politics, the people of the political parties, and the people of central government, the central state government, nobody has the power to change the activities of and there is no power to involvement of the activities of the independent judicial system. It is working independently without anybody's influence, either the central government, state government, the people, institutions, or the society, or the persons. Nobody has the power to influence the constitution, that is called influence the constitution, that is the independent judicial system. And there is a judicial review also. The judicial review means almost all the independent judicial system go for the judicial review when the governments are not performing their duties regularly, accurately, and as per the constitution, they can abolish the government. That is called the independent judicial system. That is called judicial review. The Supreme Court is the supreme authority. The Supreme Court is the highest level of appellate authority in the independent judicial system. There is state level, there is high courts are there, district level criminal courts and district courts are there, and the municipal courts are operators in the what to say at the level of the grassroots level, at the level of the revenue division level. So in this way, the India became what you say, that's independent judicial system working without influence of the executive, legislature, the political parties, institutions, the persons, or the society, or anybody cannot influence our society or cannot influence the judicial system. They can go for the autonomous activities. They can take their own view as per the constitution, within the limits of the constitution. Even any unconstitutional things are going on by either practiced by the government or the persons, that can be banned. That the power has given to the Supreme Court. That is nothing but the Supreme Court is the protector of the Indian Constitution. So this is the independent judiciary system. And bicameral system already told you. Then there is a written constitution. Written constitution means almost all we can say that is the Indian Constitution written. Written means there is number of articles are provided, that is 448 articles are there at present, and 22 divisions are there, and which is consisting with the 12 the schedules are there, in which and it was given written constitution means it is a detailed constitution, and it cannot be amended easily with a difficult procedure were there to amendment of the constitution. That is called written constitution. Unwritten means without going for the written form, without going for the we can change, that is called without easily change, that can be that is called the written constitution. And rigid and flexible constitution. Rigid constitution means it is a difficult procedure to change the constitution, amend the constitution through the 2/3 majority in the parliamentary in the Indian Parliament, in the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. It is highly impossible. Certain cases we cannot get the 2/3 majority in the Indian Constitution. Some of the amendments are made with the 2/3 the majority in the Indian Parliament as well as the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Along with it should be approved by the state governments also. The state government has to be approved, the Indian Parliament has to approve, and the bicameral system, just like the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha approved. Thereafter it is forward to the approval of the President of India. When the signature is made, it is approved by the President, then it make it the law. Otherwise, when the President has the right complete power to reject the proposals made by the Parliament or what is the state governments. So it will not be taken into consideration for a legal status without the approval of the President. President may be reject the things. It can ask for the review. It can go for the abolish the decisions taken by the government when there is a unconstitutional things are going on. Unconstitutional methods are adopted by the and practiced by the government of central government, either central government or the state government. That is called, what to say, it is the rigid constitution, and it's a flexible it's a federal state union of the federal state. Federal state means this different, at present there is 29 states are there. Every state has its own state governments, and the certain limitations within the limits of the state list. Certain powers are given to the state government, under the chairmanship of the chief minister, the council of ministers, and the MLAs. They can go for the constitutional law, they can make the legislation, and they can go for the execution, and even they can follow the judiciary system with their independent way, without taking the consideration of, without influence of the central government. That is called the federal state. India has a federal state as well as it is a union of the central government. Union government is it is a union of the center. The central government, central has a unitary state, unitary powers. The special powers and residual powers are given to the central government when any state government is not following the constitutional procedure, the constitutional laws, and out of the constitution they can abolish the state government also. There is a unitary state. So unitary powers are reserved for the, and residual powers are given for the central government. In this way, there is a perfect setup for the ancient Indian constitution, and it was given limitation for the people of the country, societies, the offices, the legislature, executive and judicial system, the state government, central government, and fundamental rights, fundamental duties, and directive principles of state policy. Everybody is systematically presented by the Indian constitution. So Indian constitution became a best constitution, the elaborated constitution. It became a great constitution in the country world, and it became a prominent constitution in the world. It's a unique constitution in the world, and we can feel the proud to have such a great and elaborated constitution for the people of the country. So we try to enjoy the fundamental duty rights, and along with the performing the fundamental duties of the country, and enjoy the fruits of the economy without discriminating any people, and try to reach all the sections of the people. People have to appeal by promoting the welfare of the society. The welfare of the society is the ultimate aim of any government. So by this I am going to conclude the features of the Indian constitution. I am thankful to the giving this opportunity, and will go for the next videos if it is possible, and on this Indian constitution. Thank you.